So the subregion data sheet is a Google Sheet file. You're going to click on it and it will open up a copy for you. And when you open this up, the first thing that you're going to do is see that we have all of these cells that we call them. Okay, this is a spreadsheet. And it might be zoomed out at like 50 zooms, so you might have to zoom in a little closer so that you can see something. You can either type in the number that you want, or you can go to 75 or 90 and so on. The first thing you're going to do, as we see in the directions, is replace China with the name of your country. So that's the first thing we'll do. Okay, my example uses China, so I'm not going to delete China, but understand that this is the first cell that we have right here. A2 is going to say the name of your country. Okay. Then after that, in this column, in column B, what we have is we're going to add in all of the subregions, okay? But according to our directions, okay, what we're going to do is we're only going to enter the data of the top 10 subregions by population, okay? So we're only looking by population. So this box right here controls the population, and if you click on this for your country's data, you should be able to organize it so that it starts with the biggest population, and then it decreases each time we go down. Okay, so we can see that the most populous province of China is Guangdong, and after that we have Shandong, China. Okay, so I'm going to go add that into the next cell. Okay, and then now I would get the next province, okay, which would be Henan province. So I take the Henan province and I put that here. Then I'm just going one at a time. Okay, we see Jiangsu province and so on and so on. So you would continue this process until you have the top 10 again, provinces of China, because we're only going to do the top 10 by population. Okay, so that's why I put them in order by population. And now you can see I'm almost done with this process. I'm halfway done, and I just need to get the other subregions here. So you would continue that process till you get the top 10. Then in this spot, we put the capital of the subregion. So the capital of Guangdong is called Guangzhou, and we can see that here in our chart. Okay, the capital of Shandong is called Jinan. So we're going to go here and type in Jinan. Okay, the capital of Hunan province is Zhengzhou, so we're going to type that here. Then we get this one, Jiangsu. The capital of Jiangsu province is Nanjing. And then the capital of Sichuan province is Chengdu. And we can see that the spreadsheet is pretty smart and it's trying to help out a little bit, okay? But make sure that you're controlling the process. So, Shandong right here, we have Jinan. We want to find the population of that region. So in this case, I see it's 101 million. So we'll take that whole number and we'll paste that right here. Okay, now we're going to find the population of Hunan province. So that's 99 million. Okay, so we'll take that number and put it there for the population. And notice that we didn't write 99 million people. It just says 99 million, so it should just be the number. Okay, so now we got Jiangsu. And I'm about halfway done. Again, I'm going to do just the top 5 rows. You guys should be doing 10, and that's because I'm trying to make this video quicker so that you guys can watch it and get to the end. So we have the subregion population done. Now I have to find the miles, okay? But you're going to notice if I go look at the area of this province of Guangdong, we see this number that says 180,000 kilometers squared, okay? So in our spreadsheet, we see that it says miles squared, okay? So area in miles squared, I probably should put the word in, okay, in miles squared. Well, that means we have to convert our numbers from kilometers squared, because that's what this is, kilometers squared, into miles squared. So what you should do is go to Google and type in convert kilometers squared to miles squared. If you Google that, it will send you to this calculator, and if you just type in the number, it'll convert it automatically into square miles. So I'm just letting you guys know right now that this thing exists. Eventually, we'll do it by hand, but not today. So this number would be the area, again, in miles squared. So now I would go for Shandong and do the same thing. So again, I have this 157,000 number, okay, but that's in kilometers, so I want to change that to miles. So we see that I want to enter that, and then I get this value, and I would go bring that into this cell E4. Okay, now into this cell E5, what I'm going to put into the cell E5 is the area of Henan province. So I look at Henan province and we see, okay, that's 165, but it's in kilometers squared. So I'll turn that into miles, and we get this number of 63,000. Okay, and we're going to go put that there. Okay, now we'll look at the next one. We're going to look at Jiangsu province. Okay, the area of Jiangsu province. Okay, make sure that we're getting just the number. It says 99,000 square kilometers, and in square miles, that's only 38,000 square miles. So now I go here and I put that in, okay? So I'm almost done with the process of all the numbers. I just need this last one, Chengdu, the area, and we can see Chengdu is like more than twice as big as these other provinces. So we type that in, and this is the number we get, 186,000 square miles. It's a lot of land. So we type that here. Okay, so now we've done, basically the first two are done, okay? The next thing that we would have to do is use the formulas to calculate the population density and then research the subregions and get the notable characteristics, okay? That's what I'm going to talk about right now before we get into the numbers. So the population density will be the last part that I'll talk about in the video. To get the notable characteristics, here is my hint, okay? Use these ideas, okay? Skyscrapers, castles, beaches, forests, terrain, all right? Weather, economy. Okay, so that could be, maybe, is there a lot of factories? Is there a certain kind of economic zone? Is there a lot of tourism that goes on here in this place? Whatever it is that you're researching, you might be able to understand the economy of it just by looking at that region. When you look at the overview, just give us some kind of note about the kind of economy. Okay, again, the word notable means that it's worth mentioning. So if you think something's not worth mentioning, then don't mention it, right? This is up to you to use your judgment. All right. Then you could be activities. So there might be, you know, maybe there's a labyrinth nearby, or a castle, or, you know, Euro Disney or something like that, Tokyo Disney, right? Give me some kind of activity that could happen there. Okay, there might have been a historical event that took place where you are. Maybe it's the place where Christopher Columbus left for the New World or something, right? Maybe there's a current event. Maybe the Olympics just happened there. Or maybe there's, you know, a festival that's going to happen really soon that happens every year, like Oktoberfest or something like that in Germany, right? Or Christmas. So you can look up into those things, right? Decorations come up at these different times in the year, and that might be something you want to know about. So look into each region a little bit. And then places in the region, right? On top of just buildings, think of places. There might be town squares, there might be parks or coves, mountains, different kinds of places that, you know, like a valley or something like that. You know, a place that gives people a sense of belonging to some kind of community, right? So try to think of what that could be. Don't bust your brain too hard on this part, but make sure that you're doing a little bit of research into each one. Okay, so again, you guys have had like 3 days to do this, and it should be enough time, all right? So finish that part up, okay? The next part we're going to talk about is using formulas to calculate the population density. So population density, I've been giving my classes today these simple ideas of how to understand what it means, right? Population density is a measure of how many people live and how tightly packed they are into a given area, right? So it's where we don't really think only about how many people are there, but we think about how big the area is, and we compare those two with each other, all right? So the units of measurement for population density is the number of people divided by the units of area, right? And so this will depending what country you're in, right? So the definition of population density, again, is number of people, and we divide by the units of area, okay, that they live in, right? That we're measuring them as being part of. So in this case, right, in Europe and in Asia and other countries, they use kilometers. And in countries that still use the imperial system, we use miles. So this is why I want you guys to change these numbers from kilometers into numbers that we use in the USA, because we have more of an understanding of it, right? So let's go do the next thing that we have up here that I should mention is how to get cell addresses. So what I'm going to do is erase these, and we'll give you guys a couple review questions to make sure you understand the way we talk about cell addresses. Okay, so I'll put some different shapes. Okay, I'll put a star here, I'll put a square here, and I'll put a triangle there. Okay, can you tell me what you think the address is of each of these cells? So what's the address of the cell that contains the star? Okay, the address of the cell that contains the star is B1. The address of the cell that contains the square is A2. And the address of the square that contains the triangle is C, because I got to go down and see, but I got to go down to row 3 so we can see that this is C3. Okay? So this is how we talk about the addresses of a cell, and we'll need to be able to use this when we're talking about the addresses of a cell, because it's the basics, right? We're going to need to know which one I'm talking about. So we get very specific by using a letter and a number. It's a very simple system. So now, what we have to do to get population density is we're going to type in equals, okay? I do not mean for you guys to just write these numbers by hand. We're going to do this using a formula, okay? And what I wanted to do, again, is I want to take the number of people. So remember, I want to take this number. I want to take the number that's in D2. Now, this is how spreadsheets work, okay? Google Sheets knows the address of each cell. So when I type in D2, it knows that we're talking about the number that I put inside of D2. Oh, actually, look, I'm hitting the wrong one. It's not D2. This cell is actually called D3. So I actually need to go here into this cell, and I need to change that, okay? Click on cell F3 and type in an equal sign, okay? Now we're going to type in D3. Okay, notice it highlights this cell is orange, so it lets us know this is the cell we think you're talking about. And so now we're thinking correctly. What we want to do is we want to divide that. So we're going to hit the backslash. Okay, this symbol will let us divide by the number we want to divide by is the corresponding area of that region. So now I don't want to type in the number 69503. What I want to do is just put the name of this cell. And the name of this cell is E3. So I type in E3, and if I press enter, look, the number gets calculated, okay? So this tells me that there's 1,800 people per square kilometer in Guangdong region of China. Now, I want to do that in the rest of these, right? So you would think that maybe I'd have to go here and type in equals, and now I type in D4 divided by E4. Notice that it shows you that right here. Well, there's a faster way that I'm going to show you, okay? One thing that we could do, and I'm going to have to unselect this cell. Okay, one thing that you could do is just highlight that first cell where we had our formula. Notice it's still there. The formula says this, okay? And now all I'm going to do is select that cell, and I'm just going to drag down the blue part, okay? And Google Sheets is a pretty smart program. What it does is it'll automatically copy the formula. Look, this cell now says D4E4, and this one says D5E5. What do you think this one's going to say? It's going to say D6E6. So notice that formula got copied down into all of these cells, and it already knew that it had to increase what we call the index of the cell by 1 every time. So now notice that I didn't have to calculate these numbers by hand. The spreadsheet did that automatically. And that's the way I want you to do it. Okay, so I'm going to erase this again and do it one more time, just so you guys can see what happened. Okay, again, I'm clicking in this field F3, and then I'm going to type an equal sign. Then I'll type in D3 because I want to take this number and divide by the area. So I'll say divided by E3. Then I could press enter, and notice that number's there. If I go back to the cell and click on it, now all I have to do is select all of them by clicking on that little blue dot and then dragging it down. And now look what happens. It'll enter everything in. Okay? The reason why we're getting this error on these cells is because there's no numbers in here. So if you just put in some numbers, it will do a calculation. Okay, and it'll give you a number. Okay, but the number won't make sense unless you put numbers that are the correct ones. So this is the process. Welcome to Google Sheets. We're going to be doing different activities in here. But this is the beginning, okay? And again, don't forget to do your notable characteristics, maybe by referring to this list of things, okay? Find me maybe the tallest skyscraper. Find a castle or a beach or some kind of, thing of geography nearby that's worth mentioning. Is there a mountain, a desert, a forest, a beach, okay? Take that into account. Okay, maybe there's a weather. Maybe this place is freezing. Maybe it has, snow. Okay, maybe it's really hot. Maybe it has tsunamis and hurricanes or something. So give us something about it. Again, we just want to try to focus on something that makes that region special. Okay, so try not to use things that don't make it special. If you feel like that thing could go to a lot of different places, then maybe keep looking a little bit. All right, try to find out. The main thing is what makes each region special and something that interests you. Okay, good luck working on this assignment. Send me an email or a comment if you got any questions.